Hello and welcome back to the channel. Now let's talk about bodybuilding for a moment. Now I love bodybuilding, okay? I love going to the gym, I love building muscle. I've been following bodybuilding for about 15 years now, I think. And I follow a lot of the bodybuilders, and when Mr. Olympia is on, which happens every year, I normally stay awake. It starts around 1 to 2 a.m. and finishes at about 7 a.m. That's because it's in Las Vegas, so obviously the timing's all different. So if I'm not working the next day, I'll stay awake and I'll watch the whole show. So I'm very passionate about bodybuilding. But let's address the biggest elephant in the room, and that is bodybuilders have died, especially in the last few years, and nothing's getting done by it. The president of the IFBB and of Mr. Olympia haven't applied any rules or restrictions to prevent these health issues and deaths from occurring. Now, many bodybuilders have passed away in their 20s and 30s. A lot of them end up having serious health issues in their 40s, and many can't even get past their 50s, which is sad really, because just by implementing some rules and restrictions, a lot of this can be prevented. Now, what's to blame? You're probably thinking steroids, aren't you? Anabolic steroids is to blame for all of these deaths since the sport of bodybuilding has been invented. That's what you're probably thinking, aren't you? Now, you're not wrong, okay? Yes, it's partially to blame, but there's something else that bodybuilders are taking, which is called Diuretics before a contest. They take Diuretics, and that helps them with their final look on stage. Now, what is a diuretic? Diuretic is basically a water pill. You take it before a contest, and it allows your body to get rid of water and sodium through your urine, of course. You pass it through your urine. Now, what's the reason behind that? When you are low on sodium and on water, your skin tightens up, your muscles have deeper separations and cuts, and it gives you that really grainy and dried look. And this is something that bodybuilders strive to achieve for a contest, and it's one of the things that they are judged on in a majorly way as well. Now, what's the problem with diuretics? Diuretics is very harsh on the kidneys, okay, especially with the amount bodybuilders have to take. If your competitors are looking a lot more drier and leaner than you, then you're going to do whatever it takes to look a lot more drier and leaner than them, basically to have that competitive advantage, meaning maybe take more diuretics, which will basically give you more health risks. The other thing you've got are loss of electrolytes. Now, what are electrolytes? Electrolytes, think of them as little electric charges and currents that your body requires for muscle contraction, fluid regulation, acid balance, and etc. Now, what happens when you are low on electrolytes? Now, when you're low on electrolytes, because your heart is a muscle and it relies on electrolytes for heartbeats, your heart can basically cramp up just like any other muscle, because it is a muscle. Your heartbeats will go out of whack, out of sync, and you'll basically have a heart attack. This has happened a few times in the past where bodybuilders have been known to cramp up on stage and backstage, and have also fainted on the stage as well. So what do I think needs to happen? I think the president of IFBB and of Mr. Olympia, as well as the officials and judges, need to get together and need to apply rules and restrictions in place to prevent deaths and to prevent health issues from occurring in the future. Now, one of the things I think they need to implement is the limit for size in the off season, because we've got bodybuilders who are walking around at 341 pounds, such as Big Ramy. He's walking around at 341 pounds, and the body wasn't designed for that kind of mass. The heart is working overtime to pump blood and oxygen around it, and it's too much for the heart. It's too much on the heart in the long run, because obviously the heart wasn't designed for that kind of mass, for working with that kind of mass. So a size limit in the off season needs to be in place. The other thing I think they need to implement is testing for drug testing. Now, obviously bodybuilders have to take drugs to get a certain look for the stage. which maybe is okay, but I think they need to implement the rule where there is a limit for the amount of drugs they are taking, the types of drugs they are taking, and also to completely ban the use of diuretics. This alone should greatly reduce health issues, especially at a young age. Yes, the physical outcome might be a slightly smaller muscular package and less conditioning, but having a healthier future and longer life surely outweighs this. Now, one thing I really want for the sport of bodybuilding is for it to go mainstream, for it to appear on sporting networks like ESPN, BT Sport, Sky Sports, and other big sporting networks, for it to also be in the Olympics. Now, one of the reasons why none of this has happened or has ever happened in the past is purely because of the bad rep that the sport has and the fact that it keeps giving itself a black eye with the deaths of bodybuilders, the health issues, and with the usage of steroids. But if you implement these limits, the banning of certain substances as well, then maybe things may change later on in the future, and maybe things could greatly impact the sport of bodybuilding in a more positive way. I mean, bodybuilding is a massive sport. It's just as big as any other sport out there, such as boxing, MMA, a lot of the motoring sports out there as well. So it's a big sport with a massive following. But that's all I've got to say about bodybuilding today. Hope you guys have enjoyed it, and if you haven't done so, do go and check out my other videos. They might be of interest, and I'll see you guys in the next video. See you later and take care.